Hey there, Hofstra fans. Welcome to the W.B. Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. My name is Kevin Dexter, joined by the head coach of the Hofstra Pride men's lacrosse team, Seth Tierney. Coach, thanks for the time. How are you?
Kevin, thanks for having me.
All right, Coach, and two big wins this week over Fairfield and Harvard. What were your overall thoughts?
Yeah, solid week. The Fairfield game, going back to it, coming off a loss versus Princeton that we were still a little angry about. Fairfield's got some great players, and to go on the road and to get that win, it was a slow, kind of grinding out win, and we ended up getting a couple in the second half to spread the lead. I thought we did a great job defensively. I thought some guys really stepped up, and we raised the way the way we played. And then coming into this past weekend versus Harvard, that's always a little bit of a coach's nightmares. How do you handle success? It's harder than handling failure, and making sure that you're equally, if not more, hungry to get the next one. And Harvard's got a roster full of All-American, high school All-Americans, very well coached. And again, a similar story. Slow in the first half, really good lacrosse game, and then we were able to spread the lead a little bit in the third quarter, and then maintain in the fourth quarter.
Well, going back to Fairfield on Tuesday, what does it do for this team to not just beat a good team? They were a little bit ahead of you at that time in the rankings. Not just to go on the road and beat them, but to beat them the way you did and win by such a large margin.
Again, I think it gives them confidence. The C word is always the biggest word growing up, and even later in life. If you have confidence, you carry yourself differently. So I think it gave them a little bit of a punch in the arm after after we got rocked a little bit in that second quarter versus Princeton, and your confidence gets shaken. So I was thankful to see that, and I was thankful that it showed going into Saturday's game. The highs weren't too high, the lows weren't too low. We stayed the course and we moved forward. And so I'm happy that we're a confident group right now. But with that, we have to maintain a certain standard of continuing to work hard, and if not harder, because as the season grows, more people know more about you, and some of these programs that we're playing in the upcoming weeks, they're very talented players, teams.
Well, going back to what you said before in terms of the second half, we know in the beginning of the season you weren't as happy with the way the team came out of the locker room, but here these past two, it seems like you are very happy the way the team responded in the second half.
It was better. It was better, and we worked on it, and listen, coaching, it changes every year, and what do you need to work on? And sometimes you assume things that this team's going to have it because we've got this player or this depth or this veteran group coming back, but you got to work on everything, and some new things pop up. So hopefully we conquered that, and we know we've got a big task coming up this week.
Well, obviously there was a goalie competition coming into the season, but Chris Selva seems to have stranglehold on that job, playing real well as of late. What have you thought of him?
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, going into Sacred Heart, it was neck and neck. Ryan Brandt he's a very talented goalie, and Eddie Collins and Jason Rosenzweig, they're right there as well. And then Ryan had tweaked a hamstring that week, and with the way the game is being played right now, with some of these quick restarts, getting the ball back into play, your goalie's got to be healthy. He's got to be able to bounce around a little bit, and Chris has done a good job. He had a couple of turnovers, excuse me, in the Princeton game, and even maybe a decision or two in the Fairfield game. But I thought he's done a really nice job of being that last wall of defense. I think the guys have rallied around him, and I think Ryan Brandt is working hard, and he's pushing Chris. So that part of it is good. It's good, clean, healthy competition. So we look forward to it. But I'm certainly happy for Chris Selva. He's done a good job.
Well, offensively, it seems like you're getting a little bit more balanced production. Obviously, still relying on Torin, who is the CAA co-player of the week, and Sam Lenars leading the team in scoring. But you get the first goal from Tyler Begley on Saturday. Yeah. You get a couple of different guys to step up. What have you thought of the depth scoring here? Yeah, we don't have a superstar on offense. We don't. I mean, I know that people write about certain guys, and 1 week is Adrian coming into the season, and Malave, and Cajon bangs in one or two now. Sam emerges onto the scene a little bit. Lance came into the season with a little bit of hype, and Torin was kind of like, who's Torin Barn? And now that cat is out of the bag. So, I'm thankful that we don't have a superstar, because that changes the dynamics of the offense. And right now, whoever scores, Hofstra scores, and that's the way it's going to be. So you don't have to focus at all on getting guys like Sorketti and Yapur, who maybe haven't put up the numbers that other people are expecting them to get them going?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I think that certainly those guys have had opportunities to increase their numbers. Whether they finished them or not, that's on them. They got to put in some extra time and go from there. But our offense is well balanced. It makes it probably difficult for us to be scouted. Who we're going to shut off. obviously Torrin's got the goal stat right now, and I don't know where he ranks in regards to the country, but he's putting up a couple goals a game, and the only difference between Torrin and Adrian or Lance is he's probably just finished more of his opportunities at this point.
Well, into the face-off X, John Antonitis had been about 50% those first 3 games. Really had a nice performance on Saturday against Harvard. You see him starting to turn that corner?
I did, and listen, we said it probably on this show and through a couple of other media outlets. John is a guy that has spent 3.5 years here of bleeding for Hofstra University, and just because he did not start on a tear and winning 60% of his faceoffs, you don't just turn your back on him. And he was able to really put together a nice performance this past weekend versus the Harvard faceoff man. We got our work cut out for us when we get out to Notre Dame, but it's a huge role. And with that, yesterday's practice, we have one faceoff guy. They've got 4 heads, and those guys have to prepare that way. And John may go out and take the face-off, but it's going to be a group effort to make sure that whoever goes out, that they're prepared and all 4 of them are together.
Well, you head to South Bend this weekend, as you mentioned, to take on Notre Dame team number 2 in both polls, in both the coaches and the media poll. Obviously, they played very well to start off this season, so give us a little bit of the Notre Dame scouting report.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. They are not a flashy team. They're a meat and potatoes with Jerry Byrne coaching the defense. Jerry and I go way back. We're teammates together in a prior life, and we know what they're about. Offensively, they're not a complicated team. They're disciplined. They've got very, very good players. Coach Corrigan puts them in good spots to be successful. But they're a blue-collar team, and they've got a very good goalie. Defensively, they're very disciplined. And we're going to need to be patient. We're going to need to push transition when it arises. But we're going to need to know that it's a 60-minute game. And we also haven't forgotten last year's game, where it was a multiple overtime game, and we had some opportunities to win. And that that one stung us last year a little bit. And we need to give our best effort on Saturday.
And you mentioned last year's overtime loss, and knowing that you can keep it close with a team like Notre Dame. Does that help the confidence, knowing how close you played them last year?
Yeah, we haven't. Keeping it close is not even in our vocabulary. We expect to win every time we step out on the floor, whether it's versus the number 1 team in the country or the number 65 team in the country. That's the way we walk out on the field, and we are in the midst of preparing to do that. We've got some confidence, but we need to make sure that we prepare, because the more prepared we are, the more confident we'll be.
All right, well, Coach, finally, what's going to be the key to heading to South Bend and competing for a victory?
Yeah, just being locked in on our game plan. And again, it's about Hofstra. At this point in the season, everybody's got 4 or 5 games on everybody, but still, it's about us and handling this trip in a business-like fashion, going out there, understanding what's going to take it to win this game. Face-offs, ground balls, time of possession, and just intelligence and being efficient with our game plan.
All right, Seth Tierney, the head coach of the Hofstra Pride men's lacrosse team. His team heading to South Bend, Indiana to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish on Saturday. Coach, best of luck out in Indiana, and thanks for the time.
Thanks, Kevin.
And thank you for tuning in to the WB Mason Coaches Report. You're on GoHofstra.com.